They had the stars, the hype, and the expectations, yet somehow they still fell apart. From big names to bigger meltdowns, this video breaks down every NBA super team that collapsed in the last 20 years. Some failed because of injuries, others because egos got louder than teamwork. All of them had one job, win a ring, and didn't. Let's unpack the chaos. The 1994-96 Orlando Magic. When people talk about super teams, they often skip right past the 1994-95 Orlando Magic. Maybe it's because they didn't win the title, or maybe it's because the word super team wasn't trending back then. But let's be honest, if you look closely, this Magic squad was the closest thing the 90s had to a super team not named the Chicago Bulls. Start with Shaquille O'Neal. At just 22, he was already a walking double-double and possibly the most dominant physical force since gravity. That season, he averaged 29.4 points and 13.2 rebounds and swatted away 2.4 shots per game like he was allergic to layups. Then there was Penny Hardaway, smooth, flashy, and ahead of his time. In only his second season, he put up 20.9 points and 7.2 assists per game. Think of him as the pre-injury version of a tall Kyrie Irving with a better fashion sense. To make things even scarier, the Magic went out and stole Horace Grant from the Bulls, a guy who packed championship experience and enough headbands to supply the entire roster. With solid role players like Nick Anderson and Dennis Scott raining threes before it was cool, this team was built to do damage. The 1994-95 season was their shot, especially with Michael Jordan enjoying his brief baseball adventure. The Magic took full advantage, rolling through the East and even sending MJ and the Bulls home in the second round after his airness returned midseason in baseball shape, to be fair, but their fairy tale hit a buzzsaw named Hakeem Olajuwon. The Rockets swept Orlando in the finals, so fast it felt like Shaq blinked and lost the championship. The next year, the Bulls came back angry, swept the Magic, and Shaq packed his bags for Hollywood. A super team, not by rings, but by talent, vibes, and what could have been energy. Absolutely. The 2015-16 Los Angeles Clippers. From 2013 to 2017, the Los Angeles Clippers weren't just winning games, they were dunking like they were getting paid by the rim. Led by the master of the pick and roll, Chris Paul, the high-flying Blake Griffin, and the I don't need a jump shot rebound machine DeAndre Jordan, this trio gave Clippers fans something rare, hope, and not just casual hope. We're talking about maybe we can finally matter in LA, kinda hope. They won over 50 games for 5 straight seasons and looked ready to make history. But while the lobs were sky high, their playoff results stayed stuck to the floor. Their lowest moment? The 2016 playoffs. They just won 53 games, had top 5 title odds, and were lined up to make noise. But both CP3 and Blake got injured mid-series and boom, out in the first round to Portland. Fans went from shouting Lob City to quietly Googling therapy. And the worst part? Despite all that talent and promise, they never even made it to the conference finals. Not once. For a team that could jump out of the gym, their playoff ceiling was strangely very low. In the end, the Lob City Clippers were like that shiny sports car with no engine. They were fun to look at and dream about, but they never got anywhere. A super team? Definitely. A super collapse? Sadly, yes. The 2007-8 Phoenix Suns. When people talk about the wildest what-ifs in NBA history, the 2007-8 Phoenix Suns deserve a loud, slightly confused nod. This was a team that had been living on the edge of greatness for years, with MVP Steve Nash running the show like a jazz pianist who somehow never missed a note. The Suns had style, speed, and spacing before they were trendy. Mike D'Antoni's offense didn't just play fast, it broke the speed limit. Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Sean Marion were basketball's version of a Formula One pit crew. Quick, precise, and always looking to finish. But after a few years of falling short in the playoffs, Phoenix decided it needed something new, something big. By 2008, the Suns were tired of being the NBA's fun cousin who never brought home a trophy. So they made a bold move. They traded Sean Marion for Shaquille O'Neal. Yes, Shaq. Only older, slower, and slightly more interested in making rap albums than running D'Antoni's fast breaks. Shaq was no longer Superman. He was more like slightly tired Superman with great storytelling skills. He still averaged 12.9 points and 10.6 rebounds, but the Suns' breakneck style now had a 7'1" speed bump in the paint. They still won 55 games, not bad, right? But the playoffs, that's where things got messy. The San Antonio Spurs, the Suns' longtime playoff kryptonite, sent them packing in just 5 games again. The next year, Shaq made the All-Star team because sometimes reputation does the heavy lifting, but the Suns didn't even make the playoffs. And with that, the D'Antoni era in Phoenix quietly faded out, like the last season of a great TV show that ran one season too long. The 2000 Suns were brilliant, brave, and just a little bit cursed. They changed the way basketball was played, but sadly didn't change the fact that defense still wins championships. The 2017-18 Oklahoma City Thunder, after Kevin Durant's dramatic exit in 2016, OKC fans were left shocked, sad, and Googling how to cope with betrayal. But in the middle of all that heartbreak, Russell Westbrook became a one-man wrecking crew. He averaged a triple-double for the whole season, something only Oscar Robertson had done decades ago, like discovering a dinosaur playing basketball. That MVP season gave Thunder fans some hope again, and then boom, OKC made a bold move. They brought in Paul George, an elite two-way all-star, and Carmelo Anthony, a pure bucket getter who still thought he was 25. Superteam vibes on court? Well, it was more of a group project where everyone had different ideas. Westbrook and George were all stars. Melo dropped a solid 16 points a game, often reminding everyone that hoodie Melo in the offseason might have been better than real Melo. The Thunder won 48 games, stormed into the playoffs with big dreams, and then ran face first into rookie Donovan Mitchell and the Utah Jazz. OKC lost in 6 games and the stars didn't exactly shine when it mattered most. The chemistry not bad, the results very bad. In 2019, the team tried again and got bounced in the first round again. So what did they do next? Hit the reset button harder than someone trying to fix Wi-Fi. Westbrook, George, and Melo left before the 19-20 season. And just like that, the Thunder's Superteam phase ended, not with a bang but with a polite thanks for trying. It had star power, storylines, and style, but sadly, it was not successful. OKC's big gamble turned into a beautiful mess. The 2012-13 Los Angeles Lakers. Sometimes when a team looks amazing on paper, reality shows up with a loud laugh and a sprained ankle. That pretty much sums up the 2012-13 Los Angeles Lakers, a team that looked like it had all the ingredients for a championship, but somehow ended up cooking instant noodles instead. After back-to-back playoff exits that felt more like early checkouts than battles, the Lakers knew time was running out. Kobe Bryant was in his final prime years, still fierce, still fiery, and still playing like every game was Game 7 of the finals. So what did the Lakers do? They went all in. They brought in Dwight Howard, the 3-time Defensive Player of the Year and Superman impersonator. They also added Steve Nash, the pass-first, always smiling point guard who had once made Suns fans believe in magic, not just the Orlando kind. Pair them with Kobe and Pau Gasol, and on paper, you had a dream team, or at least a pretty solid fantasy league lineup. Expectations? Sky high. Reality? Well, let's just say the sky had some turbulence. Right from the start, the chemistry was off. Dwight and Kobe didn't exactly become best buddies. Kobe was intense, disciplined, and treated every practice like a military drill. Dwight, he was a bit more relaxed. Let's say if Kobe was reading leadership books, Dwight was probably watching cartoons between sets. The clash in personalities wasn't just awkward, it was obvious. Reportedly, Kobe wanted grit and Dwight just wanted to have fun. Somewhere between a blocked shot and a forced smile, things didn't click. Then came the injuries. Steve Nash, brought in to be the floor general, missed 32 games with a leg injury. When he was on the court, he looked less like an MVP and more like a dad playing pickup. At the YMCA, smart, experienced, but clearly hurting. Dwight wasn't 100% either. He had just come off back surgery and moved like someone who needed a nap halfway through the third quarter. Meanwhile, the coaching situation was its little soap opera. Mike Brown was fired after just 5 games. Yes, 5! That's shorter than most free Netflix trials. Then came Mike D'Antoni, who tried to get everyone to run a fast-paced offense. With a bunch of aging stars who probably prefer to jog and a stretch, the fit wasn't great, the timing was worse, and somehow no one seemed to be on the same page. Actually, it often looked like they weren't even reading the same book. Despite all that, the Lakers managed to drag themselves into the playoffs. Kobe, being the relentless warrior he was, practically carried the team on one leg until even that leg gave out. He tore his Achilles in April, just before the postseason. The Lakers limped into the playoffs and were swept in the first round by the San Antonio Spurs, who looked calm, collected, and slightly amused. And that was that. Dwight left in the offseason, heading to Houston after finishing an awkward group project. Nash stuck around, but his body didn't. He played a few more games, but it was clear Father Time had finally caught up, probably wearing a Lakers jersey too. The 2012-13 Lakers weren't just a failed super team, they were a cautionary tale, a reminder that talent alone isn't enough. You need chemistry, health, timing, and maybe a little bit of luck, or at least fewer ankle sprains. On paper, they were scary. On the court, let's say teams stopped being scared after November. If you're a Lakers fan, you probably remember that season well, so tell us in the comments. What were you feeling at the time, and what do you think the team should have done differently? The 2013-14 Brooklyn Nets. Let's rewind to 2013. The Brooklyn Nets were feeling bold, like let's trade our future for a couple of legends. Bold. They pulled off one of the biggest blockbuster trades ever by grabbing Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Jason Terry from the Celtics. These were household names, if your household still thought it was 2008. The plan? Build a super team with Joe Johnson, Darren Williams, and the three Celtics vets. The idea looked great on paper. Unfortunately, basketball is not played on paper. It's played on hardwood, and on that floor, things got clunky. Yes, Garnett still brought the fire. Pierce still had that confident smirk, but both were past their prime and couldn't keep up with younger, faster teams. Jason Terry? He mostly cheered from the bench while wearing some spotless sneakers. The Nets won 44 games. Not terrible, but not super team material. In the playoffs, they beat the Raptors in a nail-biting Game 7, only to get dismantled by LeBron's Miami Heat in the second round. Ouch. But the real pain, that came later. See, the Nets gave the Celtics a mountain of future first-round picks for those aging stars, and Boston used those picks to draft Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, two all-stars who helped bring the Celtics back into title talks. Meanwhile, Brooklyn spent the next several years staring at empty draft boards and quietly regretting everything. In the end, the 2013-14 Nets became a cautionary tale. Don't build a super team with yesterday's stars unless you also have a time machine. They aimed for greatness and hit mediocrity, but at least they made New York basketball interesting for a season. That's worth something, right? Before we dive deeper into this NBA roller coaster, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We've got more inside stories coming, drama, trades, and all the wild what actually happened, moments from the NBA's biggest teams. If you're into super teams and superstar meltdowns, this is your spot. The Warriors' record-breaking collapse, 2015-2016. The 2015-16 Golden State Warriors were a team that seemed almost unbeatable. With stars like Stephen Curry, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green leading the way, they set an NBA record by winning 73 games in the regular season. That's right, 73 wins. They were breaking records like it was going out of style. You might say they were the basketball version of that kid who aces every test but somehow forgets their homework on the big day. Despite their amazing regular season, the playoffs told a different story. The Warriors made it to the NBA Finals, and for a while it looked like they were going to win it all. They even had a 3-1 lead against the Cleveland Cavaliers. But then, things took a surprising turn. The Cavaliers, led by LeBron James, came back to win 3 straight games and snatched the championship away from the Warriors. This collapse shocked basketball fans everywhere. It showed that having the best regular season record doesn't always mean you'll be champions. In the playoffs, it's all about playing your best when it counts most. The Warriors' story is a reminder that in sports, things can change in a blink, just like in life. And sometimes, even record-breaking teams can find themselves learning a tough lesson with a few bruised egos along the way. So, if you ever feel like you're winning everything, but still don't get the prize, remember the 2015-16 Warriors. proof that the game isn't over until the final buzzer. The 2003-4 Los Angeles Lakers. In 2004, the Lakers tried to turn the NBA into their personal Hall of Fame tour. You had Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal, already three-time champs, now joined by Gary Payton and Karl Malone, two legends hungry for their first ring. On PAPER, unstoppable. In reality, the locker room had more tension than a game-winning free throw. The Shaq-Kobe feud wasn't exactly a secret. They made magic on the court and chaos off of it. The Lakers front office said, "Let's throw in two Hall of Famers and see if that fixes things." Spoiler, it didn't. Despite the drama, they finished the season strong with 56 wins. Kobe was doing Kobe things, Shaq was still a force, Payton was steady, and Malone, well, when he wasn't injured, he missed 40 games, was still solid. But once the playoffs hit, the team pushed through and made it to the NBA Finals. It looked like everything might finally click. Enter the 2004 Detroit Pistons, a team that didn't care about hype or Hollywood. They played defense like their lives depended on it. The Lakers didn't just lose, they got outplayed, outworked, and out-teamed in 5 games. The loss marked the end of the Shaq-Kobe era. Shaq packed his bags for Miami, Malone retired without a ring, and Payton kept chasing his. The Superteam dream ended not with a bang, but with a very awkward team meeting. The 2021-22 Los Angeles Lakers. If you say the 2021-22 Lakers weren't trying to build a super team, you might need a new TV. Coming off a disappointing first-round exit in 2021, the Lakers wanted to go big, literally and figuratively. They kept LeBron James and Anthony Davis, then traded for Russell Westbrook, hoping to form a trio that would terrify defenses. It looked great. On the court, not so much. The Westbrook experiment started rocky and somehow found new ways to stay rocky. The fit was off from the jump, like putting a square peg in a championship-shaped hole. Westbrook struggled, LeBron tried to carry the load again, and Davis missed enough games to make fans wonder if his jersey belonged in the limited edition section. While the Lakers hoped for highlights, they mostly got lowlights, and many confused glances from courtside fans. Chemistry issues, poor shooting, and injuries turned the season into one long sigh. Westbrook took most of the heat, but the truth was it wasn't just him. The whole thing didn't click. The result? No playoffs, not even the play-in. For a team with that much talent, it felt like showing up to a group project with all the right people, but nobody did the homework. By the 2023 trade deadline, Westbrook was gone, and suddenly, the Lakers looked like a real team again. Lesson learned? Super teams need more than star power. They need fitness, health, and maybe fewer awkward turnovers. The 1997-98 Houston Rockets. Let's talk about the 1997-98 Houston Rockets, a team that looked like it was built in a basketball video game by a 12-year-old who just wanted all the legends. You had Hakeem Olajuwon, Charles Barkley, and Clyde Drexler on the same team, 3 Hall of Famers, 3 unstoppable forces, or at least they used to be. Coming off a 57-win season in 1997 and a deep playoff run, Houston fans had every reason to believe the magic wasn't over. They thought, one more ride, we got this. But the basketball gods said, not today. Here's the reality. Hakeem was still the dream, but his knees had other dreams, mostly involving rest. He missed 35 games that season. Barkley, who once flew down the court like a freight train with sneakers, now looked like he needed a freight elevator. And Clyde Drexler, he saw what was happening and decided it was the perfect time to retire and become a college coach. The Rockets limped to a 41-41 record, the definition of average. They made the playoffs, but that joy was short-lived. Karl Malone and the Utah Jazz didn't come to play. They came to pack Houston's bags in the first round, and they did it quickly. What made this collapse so unique wasn't the lack of talent, it was how much of it was locked in the past. The Rockets had greatness but came with tired legs, sore backs, and expired championship windows. In the end, Houston's Big Three felt more like a Legends Night event than a serious title contender. It was like watching your favorite uncles try to hoop at the family BBQ, fun for a bit, but you know someone's pulling a hamstring. The 2021-22 Brooklyn Nets. If someone told you a team had Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, you'd probably assume they were at least championship contenders. Throw in James Harden and it sounds like a cheat code. But for the 2021-22 Brooklyn Nets, it turned into more of a tech glitch. After missing the 2020 bubble playoffs, the Nets went all in for a big splash. They brought in Harden from Houston, forming a big three with talent, scoring, and, unfortunately, very little time on the court together. Between injuries, off-court issues, and enough drama to fill a Netflix series, Brooklyn's Superteam became more famous for headlines than highlights. In 2021, they made a playoff run, only to lose in the second round to the Bucks, despite a heroic effort from Durant and his famously too big shoe on the line in Game 7. The following season, things unraveled fast. Chemistry, missing, health, questionable, defense, still looking for it. By the way, if you're enjoying this breakdown, go ahead and like the video and drop a comment below. Which failed super team should we cover next? We've got some wild stories lined up. In 2022, the Boston Celtics swept them out of the first round like dust off a Brooklyn sidewalk. Harden was traded mid-season, and not long after, Durant and Kyrie were also gone, leaving only memes and a lot of what-ifs. In the end, the Nets super team didn't just fall short, it barely got started. Great on paper, chaotic in practice, it might go down as one of the biggest what could have been stories in NBA history, and possibly the only team that lost the finals of expectations without playing in the finals at all. The Knicks' current predicament, 2024 to 2025. The New York Knicks entered the 2024-25 NBA season with sky-high expectations. After a strong 51-31 regular season finish and a triumphant playoff run that included dethroning the defending champion, Boston Celtics, the Knicks found themselves in the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. Their roster boasted all-star talents like Jalen Brunson, Karl Anthony Towns, and Mikal Bridges. Brunson had been a standout performer, surpassing Patrick Ewing for the most 30-point playoff games in Knicks history. Towns, acquired mid-season, provided a significant boost with his scoring and rebounding prowess. However, the playoffs proved to be a different beast. The Knicks quickly fell into a 2-0 hole against the Indiana Pacers, losing both games at Madison Square Garden. Defensive lapses and lineup inefficiencies became glaring issues, with the combination of Brunson and Towns on the floor leading to defensive vulnerabilities. In Game 3, facing a 20-point deficit, the Knicks showcased their resilience. Towns erupted for 20 points in the fourth quarter, leading the team to a 106-100 victory and narrowing the series gap to 2-1. Coach Tom Thibodeau's strategic adjustments, including potential lineup changes, played a crucial role in this comeback. Despite this resurgence, the Knicks' playoff journey highlighted the challenges of building a cohesive super team. Balancing star talents while maintaining defensive integrity proved to be a delicate act. As the series progressed, the Knicks faced the daunting task of overcoming a 2-0 deficit, a feat never accomplished in NBA history when losing the first two games at home in the conference finals. In the end, the Knicks' 2025 playoff run served as a testament to their potential and the hurdles that come with high expectations. While they fell short of the NBA Finals, the experience provided valuable lessons for the franchise's future endeavors. So guys, this is the end of the video. Subscribe now for deep dive NBA stories every other day, and share this so your friends don't get left behind.